Greatness. Greatness. Bow, bow, bow. Greatness.
There are 2 times to be great: when you feel like it and when you don't. Welcome to the Renewing the Mind podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Tyler Sanchez. Joined with me is my dad, Dr. Raul Sanchez. How you doing, Dad?
I'm feeling amazing. I'm feeling like back in the day with my NDSU gear back in the locker room. We had a saying: those who stay will play. Those who play will be champions. Once a champion, always a champion.
And there's the ring kiss.
Let's go, baby.
Wow. On this podcast, we teach you how to flip your mindset by talking through how you can renew your perspective, move towards uncertainty, and find what's awesome about that in every situation. If you missed last week's podcast, head over to wherever you listen to podcasts on and check it out. Or you can head over to YouTube and watch the video version of this podcast by searching Renewing the Mind Podcast. Last week, we talked about how to remove the stigma of mental health. Briefly, give us a rundown of the show.
The basic principle is mental isn't so mental, it's brain. And so if you focus on nutrition, exercise, getting light, getting outside, focus on upgrading your body and your mind, then it becomes a brain health issue.
Yep.
So we remove the stigma by saying you're not mental. You just need to upgrade your brain.
Adding vitamin D and protein, a couple other life hacks we gave them.
Correct.
Awesome. Head over and check that out. You do not want to miss that. Before we jump into today's content, we got a segment we like to call a WHAT moment.
What?
WHAT is an acronym. What's awesome about that? In every situation, you can ask yourself what's awesome about that and find something that is awesome regardless of the current circumstances or the situation.
That way you flip your mindset.
Yep. You got a WHAT moment?
Yes. So Terrence, he's a senior at Iowa State, heading to college. We bought him like a 2008 Toyota Camry. Had about 100,000 miles on it. So he recently got in an accident, and he just texted us, we're in a family chat, whatever. And he says, hey, me and Mel got in an accident. We're okay. He said, pray. And so that's, when you get an accident, your kid's hurt, you're like, what? So we just started praying. Basically, an elderly woman ran through intersection, T-boned his car. They totaled it out. And so now we're just like, okay, we had to look for a car. What are we going to do? Basically, long story short, he finds a car because insurance paid him back. So he found the exact same car, except it's a 2012 Toyota Camry and the same exact miles on it, 170,000. So the money he got, he paid for his car that he picked up down in Omaha, and basically the same color he want, like this exact same car he prayed for, he got leading to college. He prayed for this car again, the same car. So we're all like, what is up with this,
I need to start having him pray for me a truck.
Yeah, that's exactly what Tavian says. Tavian's like, Terrence, you want to pray for my car? He still has an older college car, so, yeah. But here's the WHAT moment. Like the WHAT moment is like in the middle of your fear and your panic, instead of getting angry and upset at some lady who maybe missed a stop sign or something, or like, why us, what's wrong with us? Like what? You just go right to prayer and you start looking at the positive sides of that. Him and his girlfriend, Melody, are healthy. The lady who hit him walked away. Everybody's fine. And just give a quick shout out to Farm Bureau and Brinton Feitenberger. And then his office CEO there was Jill Wilmot. They did an amazing job. Just a couple phone calls, made it all happen. It was just easy work for Terrence. So it's a wonderful WHAT moment. They're healthy. He's got a car. He basically got a 4-year new car, same exact price.
So he got in an accident and then upgraded.
Correct.
Man, I'm trying to get in an accident too.
That's a WHAT. I
need to have him pray for my truck.
Correct.
Toyota Tundra.
Get him on it.
2018.
The
TRD Pro package.
Ooh.
All right. Today we're going to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus. We believe that obviously there's some things that we're going to talk about here in a moment, but just by basically applying RTM's 3 pillars, which is renew the perspective, move towards uncertainty, and find what's awesome about that. That's just the start of how we can get through COVID and coronavirus. You want to hit on that just a little bit?
Yeah, just those 3 pieces. So you have to renew your perspective, which is a mental step. You're really looking at, remember, so, the issue I'm trying to get around is like the middle of the hands on a clock, and I'm at the 12. And renewing your perspective is simply just going to the 1, taking a different look, going to the 2, taking a different look. And in each step for us, we pray. We just pray through it. God, show me. God, show me. And that language for us is like, look for the hand of God. How can God be in this situation? And then you move. And so that renewing step is mental. That second step, moving toward uncertainty, is mental, because you got to have a game plan. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? How are we going to motivate this energy to move? That's mental. And then the last one is a mental step 2, which is looking at that problem and finding what's awesome. So you go back to it and you go, wow, I would have never made this jump. But now that I made this jump, it's amazing. I would never go back. Yep. That's why you find what's awesome.
Sweet.
So those are all mental steps first.
Yeah, I catch myself doing the same thing, like that renewed perspective. I think we can all probably say that it just feels like we don't know when the end is going to happen.
Correct.
And so I've been catching myself just kind of at a sense of anxiety, like I'm anxious for something, but really there's nothing to be anxious for. But the unknown and the uncertainty and all that stuff is just making me feel anxious. So I've had to pause and just kind of take that 10,000 foot view. It's okay. My house is fine. My bills, I can still work from home, and just kind of reshift from just like, man, I'm going to be stuck in my house for the next 20 years, which kind of feels like that at times. But yeah, so that's definitely something I've done, is try to renew that perspective.
Correct.
So today, the 3 things we're going to talk about is, number 1, loss of control. Number 2, loneliness. And number 3, social distancing.
Yeah. So in my office, with working with clients, those are the top 3 things that we came up with. I just put them in categories. They tend to fall in that way. And so we're going to just analyze those one at a time. That first one, the concept is like, when will this end? When can I go back to normal? That's what everybody's asking. When can I go back to normal? And then everybody's normal is a little different, right? But everybody wants to go back to normal. And so if you take a look at the core fear behind that, which is the loss of control, now people are going like, okay, I can't control what I used to control. Now what do I do? And so if your core fear is the loss of control, one of your move steps needs to really quickly be, how can I master something in my life? Because people who have like issues with control, and a lot of us have it in multiple areas, but some people have it in every single area. So what happens is you can look at moving into fixing something, repairing something, getting a new build, designing something, reorganizing, painting, doing something at home that you can go start to finish or middle to end. Because really, for that brain, that mindset, they need to fix something to finish. They're always looking for the finishing piece. So right now, with kids at home, chaos at home, they shouldn't be controlling people like, hey, why aren't you doing your homework, and starting to spaz out on everybody. But instead, they should be focusing on what I can do to manage me, which is, man, I need to work out, or man, I got to organize those papers, or, I got to take care of my piles, or I've always wanted to rearrange my bedroom. And you start rearranging the bedroom. And at the end of that, there's this sense of accomplishment, and you get a hold of that control engine again. And it makes you, and it's momentarily, maybe that day, maybe a couple of days, you feel like, okay, I've controlled something.
Bummer, dude. Because what Alicia just told me is this weekend we need to knock out some of the house remodel stuff and some of the rooms I need to clean out this weekend. And I told her I didn't really want to do it, but now you just told me I probably should.
100%. And this, Alicia,
she was right.
Lines up with my mind a lot more, right? So
it means I have to clean out the storage room that I haven't cleaned out for a couple of years.
So who has the more motivation of like, hey, we need to control something here?
Her.
That's Alicia.
I'm loving life.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, we're home. I'm a homebody anyways.
Yeah.
So it's not really been that difficult for us. I just, she's feeling that sense, I think, a little bit more. And so she's trying to say, well, in this moment, let's do what we can do. Just exactly what you said.
Yeah.
So she's got a list of,
things to accomplish.
Yeah. 7 or 9 things that we're going to accomplish through COVID.
Yes.
And, I mean, obviously I'm going to take advantage of the more time at home and the, less activities to do. So I see that, but man,
yeah,
you just confirm that for her.
Yeah. So your move step is to double down on effort, to make sure your effort on whatever you're doing.
So control what you can control.
100%.
And not think just because you've lost some control in some areas, because to be honest, we have, right?
Correct.
We've lost some control.
Yes.
We need to admit that and lean into that's true.
Correct.
And so then control what we can control, not necessarily people, but things.
For sure.
Doing things, activities, your schedule. That was one of the things I've the last couple, going into this a week or two now. The hardest thing was just that sense of like having so much time that it feels like when you're in high school and you hit summer and you're just like, you don't have to get up. You know, all those different things. I hear that from a ton of people.
Yes.
It's like just a normal schedule, you know, not now we can't go to the gym. So it's like, I don't have to go somewhere. I don't have to do anything. And,
yeah. So the average person takes about a full week, 7 to 10 days to kind of adapt. So, hey, since this is just a conversation between me and you and nobody's really hearing, like I didn't do my morning routine, I'm just saying, for like 7 days.
I'm telling everyone.
Just hitting snooze.
I'm telling everyone.
I didn't get up and do my DMO.
Oh, $50 or I'm telling everyone.
So, but I just kind of just embraced it. And then also just being 100% transparent, we're moving into Zoom calls, you know, so it's got this DoxyMe medical software, and we're doing everything through basically a Zoom call, right? And so people are getting it, don't know how to work it a little bit. And then, you know, you're talking to their eyeball because you can't see everything, or you're talking to their chin, and it's just different. And I'm an energy person. So I like to see people and move, and I talk with my hands, and I get them engaged, and it's difficult. So the few people I did do that with over the years, I just knew it's going to be difficult. So I think during that week, my energy dropped, because I'm like, what if we go 24/7 this way? We're going to have to upgrade our software. We have to make sure we got insurance covered. We have to make sure all these windows. So I go to Stacy and I motivate quickly, energy wise. There's all the things. And then once we hit that wall of what do we do, the uncertainty, I take time off a little bit and think through it, because I'm more mental in that sense. And then I'm pushing Mom, like, hey, you got to give a call, or Stacy. I'm pushing Stacy, our office manager, also our billing person. So I'm like, hey, if they have the call, hey, I got an email, you have to have this call. So I'm pushing her faster than she can go, because I can't do that. And then so because I'm at halt mode, I usually go work out, but I didn't have the energy, because it's like, this is for real. This is not going to end. This is our new normal. And so most of the time I punch through with workouts and kind of just go through, but you know, you can't go to the gym.
Yep.
We had horrible weather here, snow and rain and whatever. So it's like, I'm just doing, there's only so many push-ups and, you know, dips and just body workouts, and just, it's got boring, my bike in the house. So literally I didn't do anything for like 7 days. And so it's okay to know that, like, you're going to set back, you're not going to make it. But here's the key. The mental work still has to go. My journaling still has to take place, you know, sitting down with Stacy and planning how we're going to do this, you know, now that's all up and running. Thank you to Stacy.
Yeah. I think the loss of control tough for me is like, you don't know how long this is going to be.
That's correct.
Because like we've had discussions like, okay, if we're in this for 6 months, we need to upgrade some things. We need to get some cameras, you know, from the church's standpoint,
Yes.
from the youth group standpoint. We need to invest in that. This is the new normal for a long period of time. If this is just 3 weeks, we can kind of trudge through and make it with what we have and what I'm doing. And I think that's the most difficult. It's like, do we go all in that this is for until the end of summer? Yes. Or is it just 3 weeks? And, you know, do we dive into the most content we've ever put out and then have potential burnout?
Yes.
You know, in 6 months, or do we dive in and then in 4 weeks we're free from this and we can think, wow, that was awesome and amazing.
Correct.
It's like, it's so unknown.
Here's the thing, like one of our biggest things that, you know, we've all experienced is 9/11, and it wrecked everybody. Literally nobody worked for a couple of weeks. You know, the president had to get on the news and tell everybody to go back to work. But there's an epicenter, boom. And then there's a ground zero. And then everybody works backwards to re-engineer your life again. This doesn't have that. There's a ground zero, but ground zero keeps moving. You don't even know where the next ground zero is going to be. And then there's not enough data to go back to look at the first ground zero. They handled it different because they're a different community. Mm-hmm. They're a different city. And then, so there's nowhere like, okay, so our Siouxland area, there's nowhere that we can go to and be like, okay, you handled exactly the way we want to handle our issue, because it's different. And so I get, you know, President Trump, whether you're, you know, for him or against him, it doesn't matter. The point is, like, that whole idea that, you know, just some people are saying, just make everybody stay home like this community did or that community did. And I get it. Like, there's communities that haven't been hit yet. And there's communities who are just ravished. So here's the issue. All of us look at that and we go, where are we at in this process?
Right.
And so, and this is where, you know, you got to be careful where you get your data from. But the idea that there was a beginning, but the beginning is going to change for everybody. There's a middle. There will be an end. And then that new normal, the reason we call it a new normal is because it's going to be new. I think the churches are going to still have to carry a big online presence. I think there's probably, I would say 20% of my client population who are going to love just staying at home and talking to me over the computer. Yeah, you.
That's me.
But here's the funny thing. Like, we talked about this too. I was like, it would be kind of cool because like I got Crocs on right now. I was thinking that would be kind of cool to get up in sweatpants and Crocs.
Love it. All day, every day.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It would be
Put
cool.
a button-up dress shirt for the video. I'm just chilling in some sweatpants.
Yeah.
Shirts.
You look good from the top up.
Yes.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like we have to embrace the fact that nobody knows. And it's okay to tell your kids, like, look, honey, I'm not sure exactly how long this is going to last.
Yep.
And here's the idea. I can't promise you we're going to go back to school. I can't promise you you're going to get to go to soccer because soccer signups happening. I don't think we're going to, but I don't really sound so negative. It's like, honey, we'll see.
Yep.
If the sign up comes, we're going to sign up because technically we're still moving, right? So, get online, do a Zoom call for her gymnastics her dance and stuff like that. So you move to where everything you can. And then the pieces you're stuck, it's okay to say, I don't know, but you know what? We're researching it.
Yep.
I'm not sure, but we're going to push through, right? And then here's where we as a family, we circle up and play video games. We circle up and play board games. We, hand pong, Lindsay came up with. We come up with all kinds of what we laugh about. We call them ghetto games because we just make up family rules. And that's where you push around some of that other energy of like accomplishing something.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I've heard, being with two kids at home, the biggest things I've seen on social media from me and my friends is the lack of control when it comes to parenting, daycare. We've had the kids now are at home more, especially if you got grade school kids.
Yes.
And then parents that chose public school are now having become, homeschool teachers.
Yes.
And they're like, dude, I sent my kid to a public school for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't want to teach them. I don't know how to teach them.
Yes.
And then we're all stuck in the same house for an extended period of time, if not all day, every day. It's definitely more than it was prior to this. And, that's like, how do you talk to them about a parent losing control?
Yeah. So the first thing is stay in your lane. So you'll see some people who were teachers, maybe retired teachers, maybe they had a, life career change, and they fall back and they're like, hey, I'm good at this. I used to do this. So we look at them and be like, well, she's not a teacher, but she's killing it. And
doing
we look
home
at
lesson plans. And
yeah. And we look at people who are teachers and then like, they got their whole life.
Yeah.
So that's like, if you were a fitness trainer and your kids are home, basically every day is PE for them, right? Yep. Stay in your lanes. Like you have to dominate where you're at. So if you're a graphic arts teacher, if your business is graphic arts, like you have to create some projects for them that way. You have to stay in your lane because that's where you're confident. And when you move in confidence, you don't demonstrate all this anxiety that spills onto your kids. Because if you're trying to be like, we're just going to be fine. And your kids are just like,
yeah. Because kids are picking up on it.
You listen.
Stella had a little stomach ache after dinner.
Yes.
She went over to the couch and I could tell she was like really distraught. I'm like, Stella, what are you doing? She's 4.
Yes.
And she's like, my stomach hurts. I'm like, okay, really bad, kind of bad. Like it's always like hospital or no, like that's kind of the scale. And she's like, I think I have the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I'm not laughing.
Yes.
It's just, I was like, what do you mean? She's like, she's holding her stomach. She's like, Dad, I think I have the coronavirus. I'm like, what's the coronavirus? She's like, I don't know. She's like, but I think I have it.
I don't know, but I got it.
She's like, I think I got it. And so she's just heard us talk about it. She's heard,
yeah,
people at it. She knows she can't go to dance because of the coronavirus.
Yes.
She knows we can't go, out to eat or to do the things we've normally done. We can't go to church now. She asked last night, why do we have to watch it on the TV?
Yes. And
so
I'm not saying this just.
I said coronavirus. And so then she's like, she knows she's 4.
Yeah. So I'm not saying this because she's my grandbaby, but she's very bright and she's super social and she's very verbal. And so
she picks up on everything.
She picks up on everything. And so she's the firstborn like climber. So she wants to know, she wants to be like us. She wants to copy Valencia. She wants to be all the stuff, right? Think about somebody who's 4 and doesn't communicate. How do they say that?
So they don't
she
even
came over to you
that.
and verbalized that. No, they go hide. You'll find them under their bed. You'll find them in a closet. You'll find them under the covers. You'll find them kind of like with a cabinet open, kind of behind the door.
So let's say someone does have a kid that won't come out and say, hey, I'm, what's this coronavirus? Well, how do you spark that conversation? You just go up and ask them?
Yes. One of 2 things. You have to pay attention. So this is where you become like a resilient person, a congruent person. We'll talk about those pieces down the road here. But basically you're saying, hey, look, if this is hard on me and I'm trying to bounce back, what about my daughter? How do I get her to bounce back? Okay. So you have to go chase her down and sit down on her floor, and you just basically say, hey, Valencia, I have a question. This whole coronavirus, sometimes it makes me nervous, and sometimes daddy gets nervous, and sometimes my stomach gets tight. Like, does that happen to you? And she might not say, yeah, my stomach gets tight, but she'll say stuff like, I can't sleep, or like, that's why I told you I'm not hungry.
Yep.
And they make a link because you've given them an out. So you have to remember, kids hear everything, but they don't have the language to discuss it. So then where does it do? It bounces around as free floating energy. We call those free radicals, and they're bouncing around her body, and they're making her stomach hurt. They're making her headache. She's freaking out on the dog, or you'll see that she's changing. So you have to go, make sure she's okay.
Force the conversation.
Now, if you don't want on their level, and if you don't want to like single out a kid because you'll make them feel bad, like maybe there's a kid, other kids are thriving and this kid's not, maybe that individual conversation might not work. So what happens is you have a group family and you say, hey, we're gonna have a family meeting, and then dad and mom go first. Here's how I'm feeling. How do you feel?
Yep.
And you make it a stage for people to talk. They share, and that becomes a community meeting.
Literally the model of small groups.
Absolutely.
Start with the leader.
Correct.
Show vulnerability.
Correct.
Show a safe place.
Correct.
And then allow kids to verbalize it in their own way.
Right.
Because I've heard other parents say stuff like, my kids are struggling to sleep, and it might just be the no schedule and structure, but it could be that they're worried and they don't know how to say, man, coronavirus is making me feel anxious because they're 5.
Correct.
So they just don't sleep well.
Correct.
Or they're not eating well, or they're acting out or beating up their brother or sister.
Yeah. And we'll get to it. It's another point, but I'll just say it now. I'll go back to it. But, as if you're on your news feed and you see one of your buddies just, text out something like, hey, I'll trade anybody a 2018 Tundra, take my kids for a week.
I'm done.
We all laugh about that.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Give me the Tundra.
Bro, I'm here. Okay. But we all laugh about that.
Did
and it
someone
might not
really
be
post that?
No.
Oh,
but they say stuff like, hey, somebody save me now. Like,
no, I understand. Yeah,
right. Like, I'll give up my degree if somebody takes away my kids, or because they're struggling. That's a cry for help from adults. That's like Stella humping around, it's like her stomach hurts, like she's aching. It takes you to say, hey, baby, what's wrong? So if one of your buddies saying that, instead of saying, yeah, I feel you, bro, my kids are crazy. I mean, that's okay. But then privately message him and be like, hey, Raul, quick question. Like, are you okay? Are you really okay? You struggling? Like, you want to talk?
So that's like a funny way to cry for help.
It's a funny way to cry for help. Really, and you don't listen. You don't have to have the answer. You just have to be able to listen, because he's gonna be like, bro, I'm just like this and this and this and this. And you're like, I know. I mean, I feel you. Okay. So the biggest issue all of us can understand is this is universal. So think about when I was real young and I didn't know what to do as a dad. I went to one of my coaches. I went to a couple of mentors. At North Dakota State, I had 3 mentors. So I would call one of them. And I would say, hey, I don't know what to do. They'd give me an answer. Stacy pushed me to call Jerry a lot. I felt like I was bothering him or something. But so if I would call Jerry and say, hey, what do you think? He would give me some answers. He'd always take the time for me. But it took a hard gut check for me to check in with people. In this situation, we don't have that guru. Like, who are you going to call?
Definitely.
Who's been through the coronavirus?
And no one. I heard someone say this yesterday, that he goes, no one has been through something like this to know what to do. So we're all in this place of trying to figure it out as we go. And the more open and honest we can be, number 1, to our kids, number 2, to ourselves, that no one has ever said, I know how to get through being trapped in a house for a month and a half with my kids, with the potential of losing your job, or if you lost your job, or, the scarcity of food and, toilet paper. I mean, no one's said I know how to do this. We're all figuring this out on our own.
Correct. And the number one thing you have to know is that this is universal. So when you feel like you're struggling as a parent, you feel like you're struggling because you have to let go some of your salary to help your company out. You have to give up some days to help your company out, or there's no business because you're just not doing it. So you're laid off. That's anxiety that's going to spill into you unless you motivate through some activity that you can control, fix, repair, build, start. That anxiety is going to spill into everybody around you.
So to do some of those projects, it's one to gain some control in your life.
Yes.
Number 2, it's a way to kind of express that anxiety.
Yes. And then also if you've got younger kids who want to help, they've got to be able to help at some point. So, okay, let's say you're working on a project, right? And Stella comes up and says, hey, Daddy, I want to help. Most parents say is no, baby, I got it. Don't do that. What you want to say is, okay, so you're going to be, my bag holder. You're going to hold this bag.
Yep.
And then you're going to come do this. You're going to come do that.
So involve them in it.
And put them in some step, give them an assignment, because look, that's a sense of control for them. when you push them away, there's only so much like dress up they can play. And then they're like, I want to go to dance. I want to go. They know too. They're not still on their same routine.
Yeah, because her life has changed too.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
Number 1, loss of control. I like it. Number 2, loneliness.
Yes. So the loneliness is the silent killer. Loneliness is the engine inside depression that kills. People can be depressed and still kind of fight through it. Some people are depressed with loneliness and they really suffer. Literally, depression is a disease. So last time we talked about, vitamin D and pushing through and removing the stigma. There are people who literally need medicine. There are people who literally need to check in and see a psychologist. Yep. There are people who need help, deep help. And one of those engines is loneliness. So this is what I hear a lot. I miss my friends. Man, I miss my coworkers. To be honest with you, they'll say this, to be honest, Doc, I'm killing it really at work, but I miss my crew. I miss my team. And I'll say, what about Zoom calls, group Zoom calls? Like, it's not the same as high-fiving somebody. It's not the same as like tossing a paper airplane, smoking someone in the back of the head. It's not the same. I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. This loneliness piece is really hurting, especially kids. So last night on our KCAU call, the show, one of our mental health professionals said that her 9-year-old came to her and started bawling and just said, hey, I miss my friends, and started crying. Yep. Okay. She felt like she's abandoned. Yeah. So this loneliness piece is this social isolation. This loneliness piece is like, what about me? Maybe everybody else is going, right? So this is the loneliness, this core fear piece is this sense of isolation, this perception of I'm all alone. And that loneliness piece will hurt people. And so now they get on social media and you see that, people on a Zoom call, or you see people, dancing or something in a house, or you see a video where they're doing something fun, and you instantly internalize everybody but me. And so you really feed the loneliness piece instead of feeding that community piece. Okay. So your move step is to be the rescuer. So when everybody's lonely, what do? They just sit back.
Nothing.
They do nothing. And then they look at something, they see something, or maybe they see a friend's be like a Zoom call. Like, let's say I hop on your page and you're like FaceTiming Bryce and you're like, man, I miss you, brother. And it's just like high energy. And I'm going to scroll through that and I'm going to shut it down and probably be super upset.
Because you automatically think I'm not doing that.
Yes. And I think, well, I wish I had a Tyler. Why doesn't Bryce hook me up?
Doesn't everyone? Okay. Don't answer that. No, that's good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Tongue. Okay. Here we go. Filter engaged.
So, I see that though too. Cause I see people, doing these house projects and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, I haven't done anything. And I feel like then, it's the same concept that you see all these other people doing stuff. And then you just think, why didn't I do that? So,
yes.
So what do? Start reaching out to people?
You have to be the rescuer. So everybody wants somebody to notice that I'm down. I wish somebody would just call me. I wish somebody would rescue me. Man, it'd be so great if somebody just knew I was hungry and would just deliver me a pizza. Like nobody knows what you're thinking. Nobody can read your mind. And it's different if everybody's out meeting. If we're back to normal social life, it's hard for people to remember you. So your job is to be that rescuer. So think of somebody who's like you and reach out to them. Just a quick phone call. Reach out to some friends that you normally know that, hey, if I'm down, I can call and say something and they lift me up. Reach out to them. You can do a one-on-one Zoom call. You can do a group Zoom call where you get 4 or 5 people in the conversation. That's fun because it bounces. It's just like going to B-dubs again. Yep. You can even like make your own wings and it's like, I'm eating wings. Let's go.
I think it's difficult though, because I've done that, but it takes more intentionality to make those conversations happen now than it did before.
Correct.
Because before they just kind of would happen or conversation would take place over dinner or at the, in the office but now I have to call you and it's like the first conversation is like, what's up? You called me, it's like, why are you calling is now the norm because before then when you called, it was for a purpose.
Correct.
Now people are calling and Zooming just to chat and just to talk. And that feels awkward.
It does after the first time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But so you just got to embrace that this might be awkward for a little bit.
So I just gave a shout out to my buddy, Bruce, a North Dakota State Bison guy. He's probably
always comes back to Bisons.
Yeah. I'm just saying
NDSU.
I'm pretty sure he's still hurt because I used to smoke him in racquetball and he's always wanted to be me.
Is it the same crusted racket you still have?
For sure. I just gave that to Tavian to take to Creighton. Anyways, Bruce calls me on a Friday night, just driving home from work. Just call, what's up, brother? Yeah. Just probably, Friday ago or two Fridays ago. And it's probably the second time we've talked, just catching up. And he calls me, "What's up, brother? Just checking in. How you doing? How's the family? How's this virus thing?" And it's not really like he's down or he's asking for answers.
Sure.
It's just checking in.
Yep.
And then we're trying to make a run to see if we can still turkey hunt somewhere. It's just like get outside somewhere, not like house in a hotel room or something.
6 feet apart though.
Stay 6 feet apart. Like, can't help you, So we're trying to see if that's still feasible.
Sure.
But it was a phone call just to
Okay,
chat.
but here's the funny thing, okay?
Yeah.
Coronavirus didn't put any distance between you and Bruce because he doesn't live here,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you guys could have been doing that before coronavirus.
Correct.
So this is what I just told Alicia the other day. I've been Zoom calling with my buddies from New York, Dallas, and Missouri, and two in Missouri,
Yes.
almost every day since the coronavirus.
Yes.
But the coronavirus didn't put any distance between us.
Correct.
But it's caused you kind of like that what moment. What's
Yes.
awesome about this, it's caused you to rethink communication, relationships, reaching out. It's like, why
Yes.
weren't we doing this before?
Correct.
Why, I've heard people like, yeah, I've been FaceTiming my kids more. Where do they
Yeah.
live? 4 hours away.
Yes.
Well, coronavirus didn't cause you to not see them on a weekly basis anyways.
100%.
But now it's caused you to rethink
Yes.
relationships, checking in, communicating, which all leads back to that loneliness piece that we need to do that more now because we don't have anyone else to communicate with.
Correct. And this is the point when you're feeling lost, left out, or just bored. Like maybe Bruce was just bored. He's just driving home from work, just bored. And he's like, "Oh, I'll call Sanchez." And it's just like that. Here's the thing. Like nobody's pushing you to do that. But when poop hits the fan and you don't know what to do and you're looking at, okay, this isn't money because money's crashing. This isn't my job because I'm cutting back. This isn't my house because it could be gone. Like what's really left? So we look at faith, family, and those friends. And so when your mind clicks in like that, you think of people. I'm not saying this to be like, I'm not Tyler, but I'm just saying I'm at the top of people's list sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know about that.
Just, hey, call Sanchez, see what's up.
I think it was maybe he called 4 or 5 different people.
Yeah.
They didn't answer.
Yeah, correct.
And you were the last one to call.
Yeah, like that sleepover. Like, hey, would you like to sleep over Friday night?
I've called 9 people. They didn't answer. So do you have time?
Before your mom taught you how to use your filter?
Yeah.
You're like, I called Joe and Brad, but they said no. Can you come?
I was
Yeah.
a tough child.
Yeah.
All right. Loneliness. Number 3, last one, social distancing.
Yeah, so social distancing is the third thing I hear is and how they say it is this. And kids, male, female, adults, male, female, everybody really, they'll say this: social distance is killing me. Literally, social distance is killing me. And the funny thing about that is, even though you can get out of your house, like social distancing isn't like literally locked in your bedroom, okay? Unless you're like in a 1-bedroom apartment in a high rise in a city and it's very difficult because they're still kind of crowded, then you're quarantining yourself. That's a self-quarantine. But beyond that situation, or maybe you're hospitalized, you really can't get out, right? But the concept for them is my rights are being stolen. Somebody's taken away my power. And for these people, it feels like that Star Wars scenario where that pole is being squished in the walls kind of, and so they put this pole in to hold it. And now you just know, like, it's a matter of time before I'm dead.
Before it snaps.
Yeah, before it snaps on the wall, like just smashes me. So this go back to managing your mental moments, because that mindset really isn't true. It's a fear. And the crazy thing about our body and our brain is we don't really know the difference between fantasy and fear and reality. And so fantasy, fear, / those two, and then there's reality. And so if I can think about something and I think about it enough and then I bring it home, like that would suck. What happens, I activate this reticular activation system and my mind and my gut work. And now I feel like I bring it home to me. And then now I start to have these reactions. And when I have those reactions, it becomes reality. For those people, they're stuck. And those are the mad people. Like, this stupid government is taking away my rights. Stupid coronavirus is probably some government scam. Like, this stuff doesn't really exist. Like, what are people freaking afraid of? People are going crazy. People lost their brains. Like, people are idiots. And they're the people who are still trying to do their own life still. And then we're going like, me? This is like you're traveling on a vacation or you're going somewhere and you're in a hurry and you see construction and you just line up because it's the fastest way. If everybody just merges like a zipper, everybody cruises. And you got that dude flies up ahead of you. You're like, don't freaking do that. And then next dude, and the next dude, and the next dude.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing. Like, oh, he's got 2 28 packs of toilet paper. Next dude, he's got a 46 pack. Next dude. Then all of a sudden I'm like, dang, I better grab toilet paper.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you just lost your mind. If everybody just stays calm, it focuses, zipper, move, we all can get through this. Like, there's a greater good here. Like, thankfully, we're not sick. I don't have any of those pre-existing conditions. So, like, technically, I don't have to be that worried about it. But my mom does, right? And so, Jerry and Edie are older. So,
Yep.
We got to watch out for that. We don't, other people around the neighborhood, people next door, our backyard neighbors.
Yeah. And the healthcare system, I mean, it's better for
Yes.
everyone.
Yes.
The less people that get it, regardless if you're going to die or not.
Correct.
It's better for everyone.
Right. So the whole idea is that we're doing this for the greater good. Yeah. Yes. I mean, everybody's taken back by it. Everybody is like pulled back from their normal life. Everybody is like taking one for the team, kind of.
Yep.
But these people get stuck on this idea that they've stolen my rights, and so now they're going to not care, and they're going to just like push through. These people have a difficult time with feeling like they don't have choices. But for them, the number one piece for them is to make a sanctuary. So if you're stuck in your house, make a sanctuary, like paint a wall, hang some curtains.
Describe a sanctuary. What do you mean by make a sanctuary?
A sanctuary would be like a place where I can totally, so most people would say zen out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Feel safe.
Feel safe, feel relaxed. So I was talking to a female and she says that she likes to read on the floor. So literally she's got blankets. We've been working on this thing, bean bags and stuff like that, where she just throws them on the floor. And really the floor is super comfortable for her.
So like what we would call make your own like a man cave.
Make it
somewhere you love
correct.
to go.
Yes.
Indeed.
So kids would call it a fort, okay. We would call it man cave.
Yep.
So a little.
So you're saying in the midst of social distancing,
Yes.
make something that you feel safe in the place where you have to be.
Yes.
Because of the current circumstances.
Correct.
Okay.
So if I have to have an office at home now, and like it's a box in the basement, or there's no windows and stuff, so paint it, put some posters up there, put a couple of mirrors up there, make that a new sanctuary for me. Put some lighting in there. I don't care. Hang Christmas lights. Grandma Ruth gave me some Christmas lights that have red jalapenos, hot peppers, and that would be cool. That'd fire up a basement because it's pretty bright.
Yep.
Okay, that might not go anywhere else, but that's going to be a good situation for that. Here's the idea. You have to make this your new normal. You have to push in, because look, even though your head is not wrapped around it yet, your body knows that this sucks. Like, why are we doing this? And so your body's fighting back because it's like, it doesn't feel safe. So you have to make that feel safe for you. Now, if you can get outside, you can also go feel that sanctuary somewhere else. So go to a park, sit on a bench, grab a blanket, throw it on the ground, just like pack yourself a little picnic. I know it's like, okay, we're supposed to be social distancing. Fine. But just find a spot by yourself.
Yep.
You can walk in the neighborhood and find a tree, maybe go to the school ground and sit down somewhere. Take your dog on a walk. There's a lot of ways where you can feel like my rights aren't being ruined.
Yeah. I mean, I understand all that. The tough part for me is the social distancing. For me is I like the big groups, being a pastor, I like having 80 kids in the room and missing the sound on the Wednesday night and before and after service. You got 75 students just screaming and yelling in the lobby. That stuff energizes me. I can't.
Correct.
I don't get that anywhere else. We did a Zoom call, had like 17 kids on there. It was fine. It was cool. It was nice to see faces, but it's not the same at all. Correct. And so it goes back to that first piece that we just have to embrace that this isn't forever. This is just a moment.
Right.
And in the reality of it, we're going to look back on this in a couple of years and think, wow, that was a crazy time. Remember that? Remember when that all went down?
Correct.
And keep moving on. And you mentioned something about new normal. Yes. I think that's one of the bigger pieces that I think people need to embrace, that there's some things that you have to just start doing that are different. Yeah. And just understand that as a family, think calling that meeting, telling people, I had to have that conversation with Stella, that this is just a new way you're going to do dance class. It's Zoom in your bedroom. This is the new way we're going to have to watch church. It's not going to be forever. This is the new normal.
Correct. And you have to sell that. She's going to come to you sad and be like, why can't we go to dance? Okay, coronavirus, but I don't want to do it this way. Yeah, you're going to see your teacher. And then if you don't sell that, it's going to be boring because there's no energy.
She lost it.
Yeah.
She was crying, didn't want to put on her leotard, didn't want to do it.
Yes.
And her biggest thing was she was nervous. When we got down to it, when she stopped crying, she didn't know what the teacher was going to ask her to do and if she was going to be able to do it.
Yeah. So
it was a fear.
Yeah. It's a fear of unknown.
Yep.
That's where we push in. So that's the second step. We're going to move toward uncertainty.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you because you've taught me this.
Yeah.
I just told her, okay, we're going to do it one time. If you don't like it, then we'll talk about it.
Correct.
And once I got her to understand that this is not forever,
Correct.
do I force them to do it? I mean, I did. I said, you're
Yes.
going to do this.
Yes.
Is that the right thing to do? Do you not force them? Because you also hear the parents that force their kids to do it.
Yeah.
And what do we do?
So my opinion is you have to celebrate that. This is cool. You're going to help your teacher. Your teacher loves you. Your teacher, you're going to see your friends. You have to sell it, but then you force it, because when you force it, and this goes into our next show, you're going to raise her resilience. So what happens is she's cruising through life, like coasting. It's easy. Now she has to start climbing uphill, and it's getting hard. And it's so easy just to shut down the engine and not press on the gas and coast. Well, here she can coast. Here she's got to hit the gas pedal. People don't know how to do that on their own. So then if she just coasts with the same amount of fervor, same amount of energy, she's going to fall back.
She won't make it up the hill.
She won't make it up. And so she's going to skip dance. What's going to happen next week? She'll skip dance again. Pretty soon that's an engine. And I get these kids who failed and quit like six different things in a row for 2 years. They've tried and quit. And that's what parents always say is like, oh, I don't want to make a quitter out of you. There's a difference between me forcing you to do something you've never done before. Like, Tyler, you're going to be a swimmer. And you're like, bro, I don't like swimming. Shut up. You're going to be a swimmer. Like, that's dumb. But you love swimming. You like to swim. But now you can't go to swimming because of Corona. And so like you're working on records, you're working on this stuff. You still have team. Maybe there's a meet coming this summer. We're not sure. We have two choices. We can just shut down all the engines, or we can press in as if we're going to get there. Well, I've pushed you guys to press in because we never know the outcome. This thing ends. You're climbing this way. You're going to freaking kill it. People are going to be like, bro, what's different about you? Everyone's just coming out of hibernation. You're like, my dad wouldn't let me hibernate. There you go.
No, I like what you said. You said force them in areas that you already know they love.
Correct.
That makes way more sense.
Yes. No, you don't.
She already loves dance.
Yes.
She absolutely loves it. She just didn't want to do it because it was weird and awkward and different.
Yes.
So I forced that. I don't force her to start picking up, something that she's never done before just because it's Corona time.
Correct. You're not forcing her to dance. You're forcing her to get over the hurdle because she loves dance.
I'm forcing her through the barrier.
Correct.
I like that.
Yes.
That's
correct.
Funny. All right, cool. Anything else on that? Social distancing?
No. Oh, last thing.
Yep.
Social distancing, we have to free the mind because, okay, you missed the crowd. Yeah. So good catch. If we free the mind, like, okay, I'm not being pinned. My government doesn't hate me. Our world isn't coming to an end. We're not going to just freaking
This is not the zombie apocalypse.
This isn't the zombie apocalypse. Like, I don't have to get a Gatling gun and just sit out my window and just hold, like, Tyler, feed me Cheeto. And just watch the window. Tyler, feed me another Cheeto. Like, Bryce, I got to go potty. No, this isn't this is what people are talking about. Like, no, stop. This is not going to happen. Here's the issue. Free your mind. It's a new normal. We've been through coronaviruses before. We've been through mad cow disease before. We've been through SARS before. And people still walk around today with their masks, even before Corona, COVID-19 hit.
Yep.
Why? Because it was their new normal. We can adapt to this. We're the best species in the world. Like, we can do this. Here's my point. You have to free your mind. Like, we're not going to be doing this. Okay. When you get to that point, because, we're all like extroverts. And so we like this big crowds. We like people. We like energy. Here's what I've just been doing because I've been experimenting. I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I've been going to like videos, on sports stuff and see stadiums. Dude, I shouldn't even tell you this, you and Tavian both, but I've been going to soccer stadiums. And when they do, ole, 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 typically Brazilian teams and stuff like that, dude, it's energizing. And turn it up, put on my headphones and turn it up. Next thing you know, you're sitting there and you're rocking. Next thing you know, you're moving, your foot's bouncing. And then you come out of that and you're like, okay, I'm going to make some eggs. You're like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do, I'm vacuuming out the car. I'm going to clean the garage.
So you're virtually doing, being around people and getting that energy.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I love it.
So
Sweet.
You can make it up.
All right. Before we get out of here, as Marshawn Lynch said,
Go take care of y'all mentals. Go take care of y'all mentals.
we got a segment we got to call Manage Y'all Mentals. You got to manage our mentals moment this week, an action step real quick that we can put into practical steps in our life.
Yep. So the action step is move, MOVE, and it breaks down. So the M is music. As I was just saying, music and chants and stuff like this, they motivate you, they move you. They literally produce energy for you when you didn't have any. And if you're down or whatever, you can play a soft little mood to kind of pick your light up. If you're reading, play some music. So music motivates. That's number one. Number two, the O is for outdoors. Get outside. And outside also means your mind. So let's say I can't really go outside. I live in some place I can't go out. open a window, put a chair by that, open the window, get some fresh air, and read by the window.
Okay.
What happens when you breathe fresh air is your brain literally slows down. Your breathing literally slows down. So you take longer, deeper breaths because your brain understands that that's better oxygen, and you're taking long, deep breaths because you're oxygenating your blood. So it's really, really cool. So take a walk, get outside. Now, if you can't get outside, make that sanctuary indoors and get outside of your mind. Okay. Number 2 is outside. And then the V, that's what we just talked about, the RAS, the reticular activation system in the visual system. So which means I have to, if I just say, yeah, this is going to be okay, that doesn't do it. But I say, yeah, this is going to be okay. And I think, how would this look if I could design my life when Corona ends? Okay, I want to be a runner. So right now I start moving toward that on paper. Nothing starts to happen. I just visualize me being a runner. What would that look like? Get a game plan. And I just start doing that. So go back to our 6 stages of change. There are 3 stages that we do mentally before we even start to move physically. So that's the V. And then the E is exercise, whatever it takes. Sit-ups, push-ups. You can even just tighten up your stomach. You can do air squats. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. The idea is if you can push your breathing as much as you can, but the minimum is like 2 times a week, 20 minutes. So if you can just do a calisthenic program twice a week, 20 minutes, that's a beginning for you. So our manage your mentals moment is move.
Move. Music, outdoors, visualize, and exercise.
100%.
Let's get it. Before we leave you, so you can continue with your morning, afternoon, or evening, we just want to remind you that there are 2 times to be great: when you feel like it and when you don't. If we talked about anything today that you loved or that hit home for you, would you leave us an awesome review on it anywhere you're listening to the podcast? If you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell. And leave us a comment below, maybe a struggle you have for your family or something that you've been battling through this coronavirus. We'd love to talk to you about that, kind of dialogue a little bit, maybe give you some advice if we can.
Yeah. Answer some questions for sure.
Yeah, so leave a comment below. And as always, we love you. Go renew your perspective, move towards uncertainty, and find what's awesome about that in every situation. We love you. Peace.
I had to realize what's inside of me. For all of the people that lied to me, for all of the people that said I would fall off. Oh boy, what a time to be alive. I wrote this for everyone, feel like they counted out. You need to look in the mirror and tell yourself it's time to be who I am now. Greatness.